Hello once again to Mindset Change series. Today we're going to discuss participating in our own future as we travel along the journey of making our better self. In one of my presentation, I actually mentioned to say if we are ready to progress in life, we have to participate in our own future, or we have to be friendly with our own future. That means that we have to remove all our negative attitudes, surround ourselves with the positive people, and make sure we have our own clear goals, which are realistic, measurable, and attainable, based on our capacities, our capabilities, and talents. Of course, many people have asked, how do I develop my own talents? Just stay tuned to this page. We'll get to there at a certain point on how you can discover your talents. However, today we want to discuss how can I participate in my own future? If I'm to achieve the ideal myself, how do I participate in it? After all, I don't know the future. Yes, we all don't know. In fact, most of us may not have even had a chance of reaching where we are. But we all believe that we have a future. The youth of today are taught you are future leaders tomorrow. When I was young, when I was a youth as well, I was told you are the leader of tomorrow. And tomorrow never comes. But for some people, that tomorrow has arrived and they are in that tomorrow. How do they go about it? How do they manage to do that? Well, a few things I think we need to bear in mind if we are really to participate in our own future. First thing first, we must always think like a winner to succeed, not a failure. Have a winner attitude. I once attended one of the crusades, and the pastor there, he only said, if you are to be a Christian and a strong one, make sure you have a mentality of a winner. How do I do that? One, find a mentor. One of the most important key to success is make sure that you are continuously surrounded by thinkers who are more intelligent than you. Put yourself in their company. No doubt, having mentors will significantly increase our chances of success. Because those mentors will not want to ruin their own reputation. That's the key. So you'll be required to have a guide or a mentor, and you must be willing as well to accept whatever they're saying. Which means if you don't have a mentor, it may be next to impossible to achieve or to have a winner's mindset. Then the next point is establish your accountability points. Working towards your true self, you must make sure that you're accountable because you're setting your own goals. Now, we all talk of the accountability to the leaders. What about ourselves? Are we accountable? We need to be accountable as well. Yes, it's good to have everything ready, but if the driving factor must be something that you have your milestones. By this, I'll achieve that. By this day, I'll achieve that. By this day, I'll achieve that. Now, when you reach that point, you need to reflect back. That's being accountable. Yes, mentors will also make sure they were accountable to them. But the ultimate goal or the ultimate person responsible to be accountable is you. So make sure you have those milestones which you are accountable to. You have those goals which are accountable to. Now, make sure you are productive, not just being busy. I can tell you, or as some of you are experienced it, very busy on the day, running around, very tired at the end of the day. But what have you achieved? Friend, have achieved nothing. You have just been moving on the same cycle. So most of us who are busy, yes, you do the, I know I'm busy, you're busy, but what have you produced with that busy issues? So we might be busy putting a lot of effort in the long press. While being productive, it means you are putting all your efforts in the right place where you're going to move. For example, if you say to yourself that, okay, each week I will learn a talent or I will learn a new skill, which means you can spend 1 hour discovering that new skill and spend the 7 days practicing the new skill. Which means when you come on the 8th day, you are being accountable. Have I already achieved this? Yes. If I've not achieved this, what happened? So make sure that your busy item is put in the right direction and on the right things for you to be productive. It's not just enough for you to be busy without being productive. It won't work. The next point is we should not avoid permanent solutions for temporal ones or substitute permanent solutions for temporal solutions. Temporal solutions are good, yes, to give us an impetus to move on. But what is it that you want to achieve? That's the permanent solution. And most of the time, the permanent solution is not an easy job. For example, when you say or when you want to know, what do you think about it? Is it because you're not prepared? For example, you go to the bank and you want to have a loan, and the bank says no. Go back and say, why did they say no? Then work towards those things. Those are permanent solutions. Well, a temporary solution would be, okay, fine, I'll go to a money shack, get the money, and invest. Now, the bank might have seen that that business is not viable. That's why they said no. But in your thinking, you think the bank is just being cruel. So you go to a money shack, you invest in the business fails, and the money shack, what's his money? What is going to happen? You're going to lose all the properties that you had and become a failure. While if we are digest on why the bank said no, maybe the business was not viable, then work towards a viable business which the bank can finance. So let's try to avoid temporary solutions by going for, let's avoid payment solutions by going for payment solutions, by looking at why other things I cannot do them now. Remember, your goals are supposed to be realistic, smart, measurable, and time bound based on your resources and talent and all capabilities. Then, if we are really to pursue our own future, let's have a vision rather than an illusion. You have specific goals which show that yes, in your mindset, that will be lead to outcomes, successful outcomes. So it's either you get up, walk out of the door, and actually purchase whatever you want to do, or do the work, or you sit on your couch and dream or build castles in the air. Which means if you are here to be their true self, you have to go out there and work for it. Because if you do not work for it, that's the way you're achieving that thing is another dream. So we need to work towards our vision. We need to put all our effort in that. While looking at what our mentor is doing, the advice is getting or is giving us, and being accountable to ourselves. Then if we are ready to be our ideal self, we need to be a risk taker and not a wish maker. This accurate distinction between a person who lives in a real world and who still remains in their illusions. Because someone that is actually has a vision who work towards it. So who takes risks. Well, who is just a wish maker, who still be living in the illusion, because it's just a wish. That's why they say if all wishes, if all wishes were horses, beggars would ride. What do they mean? Because a beggar will actually say, hey, I think I can ride a horse. That's a wish, but it's not reality because cannot afford it. So let's be risk takers and not wish makers. Now, some of us who have been patted at the back for working hard and really successful. But you find that that goal you're working towards is not yours. It has to come at a point where you say, I think I've worked for people. It's time for me to move on. That's why we have retirement issues. People reversing their number of years because they still want to stay where they're staying. But we should also know that God created us for a purpose. To work at a certain point to do something different. So make sure we should be always be challenging ourselves to do something apart from realizing someone's wishes. Then let's find our fear. What is it that I fear most? Now, if you want to to move forward, you have shared your plans with your mentor, and sometimes they can tell you, no, you can't achieve this. You can't. And you discard it. You hatch another big idea. You go to another person, says no. Now you develop that fear now. That which means each idea I have in this world is not attainable. We need to find that fear and get rid of it. How? You need to be committed to it as well. Because if someone tells you this cannot be achievable, he should be able to tell you the alternatives. Not just you can't do this. No. He should be able to advise you. That's why the mentors are more important, because they will tell you, no. Based on what you have explained, this is not achievable. Why don't you try this? And get committed to that. Don't just fear that, well, I'm a failure, I'm a failure. No. Listen to the alternatives and be committed to listen to them, which means you need to change the way you look at things. Be positive. Have a positive mindset. Once that is done, you should be able to achieve your ideal. The other thing that we need to look at is finding our friends and our enemies. Distinguish between the two. Who is our enemy, or who is my enemy, and who is my friend? Surely, when we look at enemies or friends, we are looking at people. Yes. However, a friend is a person, a place, or a thing that pushes you towards your goal. There are some people who actually be pushing us, or there's some more activities that will be pushing us towards our goal. That's a friend. While enemy is anything that takes us away from our intended goal. One time I was giving some presentation, I said, let's look at the television set. It's very good. Communication channel. We watch news from across the globe. But suppose you sit there from morning to sunset. You have watched all movies, you have watched all the news, and you have learned nothing out of it. And you are stuck where you are. Who is your enemy there? Sure, the TV. But suppose on the same TV, you have watched a documentary on organic agriculture, and you take it and go and practice it. It means that television has become your friend. So anything that pushes us towards our goal is a friend. Anything that pushes us away from our goal is an enemy. Therefore, if you want to be successful, the first thing we need to do is to determine who our allies and others are in everything we do as you work towards achieving each and every goal on your path to a great success. That's the key. Then there's another interesting thing. That's determining your instigators, your spectators, and perspectators. In life, we encounter a set of people, participants, spectators, and instigators. And we need to understand these things and how they fit into our success endeavor. And more especially, when you are on the path of becoming the ideal you. In this section, or what I'm actually going to say now is let's distinguish between these three people. Who are instigators? Instigators usually, they will do a more talk about things. They will talk. But most of the time they will have empty words. Why? Either they're lacking resources or they just have a negative attitude. These are the people that they watch you from afar, get whatever information they have, discuss it, provide solutions, and keep quiet. Sometimes these are people who call the Monday coaches in football. They'll talk about the problem or what you are trying to do to other people without necessarily giving you a solution. Then we'll have spectators. These are the people who stand there for their hand and you just be watching while you are toiling. When you succeed, they will clap hands for you. When you fail, they say, we knew that it's going to fail. And sometimes they will actually come to you and say, we warned you that this won't work. These people with the instigators, most of the time they are very close. I find the spectators who actually feed information to the other people. And they'll just cause chaos to make sure that you don't achieve anything at the end of the day. Now, if you are committed to your own things, when you achieve, instigators will definitely run away, while spectators will still be around, hoping that one day you stumble down. Unfortunately, this is the reality of life. The third category, those are participants. These are the people that actually they will move with you. They will participate in everything. They will give solutions, alternatives they will provide. Because according to them, they are learning something out of, or they know there's power in diversity and in unity. So they'll always come together with you and make sure you achieve your goals. So these are the people that sometimes we need to befriend rather than keeping people who are only spectators and instigators. Participants, most of the time, they will make concessions and give up their time. They will actually volunteer to assist you because actually they achieve their satisfaction or motivation is to see others move forward because they know that once you progress, they are progressing as well. And sometimes these are the people who have the goodwill, but maybe they don't have resources. So if we are to be our ideal self, let's surround ourselves with participants, not spectators, not the other way around. Then, just in line with what I said before, issues of accountability. We need to inspect what you expect. If you are expecting to get, suppose you have invested $100,000 and you're expecting a return of $50,000, you should be able to expect that. Have I achieved it? Yes. If you know why. If I've achieved it, would I have done it better? Would I have achieved better than just like this? This time to take an honest stock take on an honest audit on the process that you have reached so far. If what you have achieved is still matching with what you had said. So you are basically conducting your own self-assessment. Because self-assessment is very important. It's an evaluation, a reflection of what you have achieved so far. Our colleagues in the project management, they will tell you monitoring and evaluation, whether they have actually achieved the setup goals with those setup indicators. The other thing is staying in a position. You need to connect a few dots why you have achieved what you have achieved. Because when you are actually setting up things, you had a pathway. Now you have reached there. Are you within the same or you have digressed somehow? However, successful people, most of the times, they'll actually connect the dots, even if they digress. That's why the issue of motivation, or I mean, not yes, motivation, the issue of self-evaluation is more important. The next thing that we need to look at is the issue of a point, embracing a new point of return. You have made a decision, you have come across everything. It has to come a time where you say, I'm venturing into this. Everyone has given you the guidelines. If you have done test run, you have done test runs, you have done all your research, whatever, you have put your documents together. It has to come to say, this is the time I would like to kick off. That's the point of no return. This is the point for people who actually shift goals. I would like to retire when I'm 55. You reach there, say, no, 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 I will retire at 65. You reach 65, say, no, 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 I will retire at 70. That's shifting the course. It means we're not sticking in one position. So we need to reach a point where say, at this point, I'll be able to do A, B, C, D. And when we reach that time, move on. Because success is all about taking risks. Nothing more, nothing less. You have held jackpot of all trades, master of none. Most of us would like to do everything on our own. That's very good. But we should know that we can only do so much. If you're an accountant, who are you? Are you a financial accountant? Are you an auditor? Are you whatever? Are you a management accountant? If you're an agriculturist or a farmer, you may have a general knowledge of everything, but it comes a time when you need another person to come in. So let's make sure that there's diversity in whatever we're doing. It comes a time when you have to execute. That's after a point of no return. Don't give an excuse. Because failures will always make excuses. Where winners will get things done. So who are you? A winner or a failure? Look back. What you have failed. What excuses did you give? Are you going to continue doing the same for personal development? You will find that the more excuses you give, the more you don't progress. It has to come at a point where you say, I'm going to do A, B, C, D. And make sure you start and complete what you have started. Don't be a try baby. Because when you fail, you just, I tried. Yes, you tried. But what happened? Then you give a return of excuses. If someone tries to give you a solution, you say, no, 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 I tried this as well. What next? So let's make sure we reach a point where we can do everything. And lastly, excuses comes with the word bad. I want to be successful, bad. I would like to get rid of extra weight, bad. I would like to stop smoking, bad. If we are to achieve the ideal self, we need to get rid of the word bad. Let's get busy on a productive route. Let's be committed to what we want to achieve. Let's be realistic with our goals. Let's make sure we have a time frame to do things that we want to take part in. And always, always, we must convince ourselves that there's no better time than now. Thank you very much for your attention. Let's meet each other in the next episode. For those who like reading, I would encourage you to go and read this book, Building a Millionaire Mindset by Johnny Wimbley. Read this book, you'll get more information. That's why I got all this information that I've shared with you in this episode. Thank you very much. See you next time.